Here are 4 reasons you are using your book wrong. Reason number 1, your book is the ultimate business card. Everywhere you go, you should carry at least 2 copies of your book. One for one person, another you keep to yourself in case you have to give it to another one, right?
Nice.
Many times I learned that people do not throw away books, but people throw away business cards. Probably you do. How many business cards you have acquired during the last 12 months, let's say? And how many of them do you actually have in your pocket still? Most people throw away business cards, but they never throw away a book. The reason number 2 is giving or selling this book, or at least attempting to sell or give away your book to everybody is instead of select few. Now keep in mind, whether you want to give away your book or you want to sell it, you have to choose people wisely, right? Because it takes the same effort to reach the people that actually gonna make a difference for your book success versus people who will not understand, people who don't need your book, people who are not even in the realm of your ideal audience. Now you have to understand this. One of the strategies, for example, that we're using with our authors, we take about 200 copies and we create a list. We create a list of ideal clients, ideal people that would enjoy and use the book and get the most value from a book. After we find about 200 people-ish, right? It can be sometimes, depending on the topic of a book, it can be anywhere between 100, 200, sometimes 300. And we create a list with people's names and addresses, sometimes their office addresses, and we send 2 copies to them with a letter that explains why we are getting this book and what do we want them to do with that, right? Maybe they are ideal clients, maybe they are investors, maybe there are people who can refer that book to even more people. Once you get your book published, you want to establish momentum, right? And getting your book into the hands of the right people is one of the best ways to establish that momentum. More than that, chances are of you getting a client, if you selected the right people to send this book to, is so much higher. And for example, if you're sending a letter to that person and that letter says something like, it makes it more personal, it makes it much, and you send a signed copy, right? These copies, actually, those 100 to 300 copies, these are signed first edition copies. So that makes that book even more special, right? And so many times we got back from those people, they ordered many more books, or we wanted to get in contact with the author, and business opportunities come, partnerships, and all of these great things, right? So, but that only is gonna happen if you select the right people. All right, so the reason number 3, you're not talking about your book. But one of the most important things that you can do that most people are not willing to do, probably because by the nature of the book itself, because book is one-to-many item, right? You're not having a conversation about your book. You're not having a sales pitch. You're not having a speech, right? And most people who publish a book, they like to write more than they like to speak. That's for a general, that's kind of like a general assumption, but actually that's a statistic that this is why people are doing that in the first place. Now, it's a must if you want to get above everybody else, get above people who are not willing to do it. You have to talk about your book. If once you published your book, once your book you start promoting your book, and you have to start talking about it. Now, what does that mean, talking about your book? Going to a podcast, mentioning it, saying where we can get it, getting on stage, seeking opportunities to talk to many people, many audiences that are potentially your ideal audiences. So once your book is out there, you can establish that momentum. Again, everything here is part of a momentum. And getting yourself in front of the right people, again, you being on stage, you being on a podcast, positions you in a way where you're talking about a book as the expert, as the authority in that field. Now keep in mind, of course, I'm talking about non-fiction books that position you as an expert, assuming that you wrote a book on something that you are very well aware of. You are the expert in that area, or at least you have an important message to share about that subject matter. So again, not talking about it is a big mistake, and this is one of the reasons why you're using your book wrong. Okay, now number 4, this is a big one. Trying to make royalties or money at the front end of selling your book. Now, time and time again, I see so many authors making this mistake. This is a big mistake. There are authors out there, like myself, like our team, who are willing to spend money on marketing to not make money back. Now, what do I mean by that? The goal here is to break even. Breaking even means that you spend as much money in advertising as you get back. So you're not trying to make money on royalties. You're not trying to make $1 or $2 or $3 for every copy you sell. This is not where the money is. The money is in the opportunities. So if you would choose to sell 10,000 books and spend $10,000 on selling those books, let's assume that's an example, opposed to selling 5,000 books and spending $4,000 on marketing, which one would you choose? Would you sell 5,000 or would you sell 10,000 copies and save $1,000 on that? Or in this scenario, you're actually going to make $1,000 on 5,000 book sales. Now, this is just an example, not to make a point, but the right answer to this question would be 10,000 books, because you sold double the books, and the opportunities that can come from those extra 5,000 copies sold, even though you don't make $1,000, is so much greater, right? Just think about how much one client is worth to you, how much one new partnership or an investor could be worth for your business, for your brand, for your personal gain, right? All of these amazing things that can happen with your book. So think about it, right? You would never make such a decision, especially, and you would lose against people who are willing to spend more, who are willing to go the extra mile, right? So keep in mind, remember it, and never make this mistake again. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video. Now, in case you want to figure out more on what it takes to become an author, a published author, more so a best-selling author, you can click a link in the description below. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you in the next one.